So A.J. Brown, well, we're figuring that out. He is going to read a little passage here.
I read the book. Yeah, I like to read. So that's a book that I bring every single game. My teammates call it the recipe.
I haven't seen too many people read books. Certainly not in the playoffs.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. The seeds bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, this is a show that I believe that could be life-changing for somebody out there. You're somebody, if you're watching today's show and you're saying, I need to escape the monotony of I've been going to church, I go to work, I go home. I go to work, I go to church, I go home. And there's nothing wrong with going to work and going to church and going home, but I'm just kind of stuck in this hypnotic rhythm and I want to get unstuck. This is a show that you need to listen to. So I want everyone to grab a pen and a pad and prepare to enter into the Dojo of Mojo Faux Show as we interview the best-selling author, Jim Murphy. Welcome onto the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Now, brother, I don't want to butcher the story, but I first heard your name because an NFL player was singing your praises, and before he was singing your praises, he was just reading your book. Could you tell the listeners out there that story for anybody out there who does not know that story?
Yeah, for sure. It was a lonely Sunday afternoon in Dallas, Texas. I'm in my hotel room leading a Inner Excellence retreat in a couple days, and I'm watching the Penn State Notre Dame football game, and I look at my phone, I see all these texts. I was like, what is going on? And then they said, you got to look at the Packers-Eagles wildcard game. And I took a look and I see A.J. Brown reading the book on the sidelines during the game. I had seen a picture a few weeks earlier of him in uniform with the book, but I had no context. And so I found out with the rest of America that he was reading it before every game to get centered and after every drive to get recentered. So, yeah, pretty surreal.
So tell us about this book in particular. What inspired you to sit down and write the book that A.J. Brown has said has helped change his life?
Well, I was a pro baseball player, played 5 years in the minor leagues, and my identity was completely wrapped up in my ability to hit a baseball. And when I lost that career, I had an injury and felt like I lost everything, lost myself, lost hope, lost my vision, everything. And so I ended up, I got a job with FedEx. I get asked to coach a high school baseball team, loved it. We went undefeated. And then that kind of set off this journey of coaching. I ended up going to the desert to look, because before I go to the desert, I coached for a season with the Texas Rangers in the minor leagues. I coached with the South African Olympic team, which was amazing. And then I go off to the desert to go live a life of solitude to figure out what I'm going to do with my life next. And then that ends up becoming 5 years of writing and researching the book Inner Excellence.
So when you're doing nothing in the desert, what are you doing?
Initially, I went down there to, I was really ready for a change, trying to figure out what to do with my life. My former teammate in pro baseball, Ricky Scruggs, called me, says, I'm opening up a baseball academy in Tucson, Arizona. Can you come help me for the weekend? And I thought, why don't I go down there, help him out part-time, and then just go live a life of solitude and figure out what to do with my life. So I wasn't living in a teepee. I was living in the outskirts of Tucson. I lived in the baseball academy for a few months, no showers, so I'd shower at the gym. But one of the New Year's, New Year's Eve, I hear a noise. I go outside, I see fireworks. That's when I found out it was New Year's. Every day was the same. So except Sundays, go to church. So yeah, it was a different life, a solitary life for a couple of years.
So in your book, you talk a lot about, self mastery. And I see a lot of people that ask me, Clay, how do I become a leader? I want to become a leader. Well, I'm thinking, are we leading ourselves? That's kind of where you start. And that's why your book really, to me, it resonates, because I think a lot of people, we want to be leaders, we want to grow successful companies, but the first person you have to learn to lead is yourself. Can you talk about, what does your book teach about self-mastery?
Yeah, self-mastery is really mastering the ego. We have a deep need for love. It's our deepest need is for love and acceptance. And most everything that everyone does is to try and get that need met. They try and do it through symbols of success, not the real thing. And that's the deception. Our ego, that part of our mind that we all have, that's always comparing, always threatened, never satisfied, says, hey, look, if you get that promotion, you make more money, you win, you get this birdie, you're gonna get the love that you want. Come on, you got to do this, but it's not in your full control. So now we got anxiety and tension, and it's this constant chase your tail pursuit of happiness that ends up being the great mistake, pursuit of emptiness.
Why do we have to learn to let go of what we can't control? I know, like in my world, when my dad died years ago of Lou Gehrig's disease, that was rough. And at a certain point, you recognize, okay, I recognized, okay, my dad's going to die of suffocation. That's not going to be good. Okay, so how do we maximize the time we have with him? But at a certain point, you just have to learn to stop fighting it and just kind of let it go. And I think your book does a good job of talking about that. But what do you say to someone out there that's having a hard time letting go of some problem, some animosity, some objection that's in their way?
Well, if it's a problem with people, which is very, very common, Inner Excellence has a principle called that everyone does the best they can with what they have in their heart. The problem that you run into when you judge others, laying down a negative verdict about someone else, you're like, no, that person's terrible, thinking negative about someone. The problem is, I'm not trying to tell you to be a good person, which would be nice, but I'm a performance coach. I'm telling you that when you judge others, you're going to lose out. You're going to lose out on your flow. You lose out on curiosity, creativity, problem solving. Your vision is limited. And so judgment is really, really limits us when we judge others.
I hear a lot of people tell me they have anxiety. I know in my world, I used to stutter as a kid. And so, as a kid, you stutter, that's not fun. And so I couldn't really speak well. I've had to learn to speak slower over time. And as a stutterer, you tend to go fast. But is it when you stutter, you kind of have a little bit of anxiety whenever you publicly speak, and it never quite goes away. What do you say to somebody out there that's battling anxiety? What does your book teach about this?
Yeah, it's a real problem in the world, especially in America today. And so a lot of my clients face the same thing. Really, it's one of the disciplines of Inner Excellence is to embrace the tension. What I mean by embrace the tension is embrace the unknown, embrace what you want and can't control. Those feelings that you get when you think about your fears, that's what I'm calling tension. We need to embrace that because that's going to be your teacher, and it's going to help you live an extraordinary life if you know what to do with those feelings. What most people do is they shudder and think, oh, I just don't want to feel that, anything but that. And they try and not feel it. Of course, that's a terrible strategy. What we do with Inner Excellence is we say, look, my number one goal today is not to achieve whatever my goals are. It's to learn and grow, because I don't even know if my goals are the best thing for me. I do know I want to learn and grow and have more peace, more inner strength, more joy. And so we ask ourselves some important questions. Am I willing to face my fears? Am I willing to face any feeling? Am I willing to have a feeling that I've never faced before and sit with it, even if it doesn't leave?
For somebody watching this show, if they're trying to create new habits, do new mental habits, there's somebody watching today's show and you're trying to sell something, and every time you get rejected, it bothers you. Someone watching today's show, you're a leader of a company, and every time you have to meet with your staff and give them unpleasant feedback, it bothers you. Somebody watching today's show, every time you try to shoot a free throw, it bothers you. So what does your book teach us about developing new mental habits?
Well, the easiest way in general to develop a habit is to attach it to a current habit. So brushing your teeth or anything that you normally do. Like, for example, here's kind of something that might sound kind of silly. I have this habit when I go to the bathroom that I'm going to do at least 15 squats. And so when you're like me, there's a lot of time on your computer writing and sitting. And so sitting is like the new smoking. We need to move if you want to be healthy. And so Dr. Rhonda Patrick shared this study that 15 bodyweight squats every 45 minutes is better than a half hour walk in over 8 hours. And so obviously you're trying to, if you want to be a high performer, we need to hydrate throughout the day. So you're going to be using the bathroom a fair amount. Just every time you go to the bathroom, I'm going to do these squats. So that's a simple thing. Attach a new habit to a current one. Now, the biggest thing we want to do is attach new ways of thinking, and we want to develop new beliefs. And so that's a willingness to let go of your past and say, and face feelings that you haven't faced before.
What tips do you have for somebody out there that just is fighting through a mental block? You know, there's somebody, I have 4 daughters, and my daughters, a couple of them are really, really aggressive with cheerleading. I mean, that's what they do. And I have another one who's decided to get in the game. She's kind of new to the game, and she previously had some mental blocks. So she's got the one sister who's like a Jackie Chan meets cheerleading. The other sister is a phenomenal cheerleader. Now she's trying to join the cheer clan, wants to join the cheer team. But before, she was dealing with the mental block. She had a mental block, and that was kind of the thing. What tip would you give her or somebody out there that has a mental block?
Sure, that's a perfect example. The mental blocks come from expectations that you're not sure if you can meet. And so likely she's looking at her sisters like, I don't know if I can be like them. I don't know if I can be as successful as them or as good as them. And so that's the problem. If you're can understand and talk to your daughter, like, okay, what I want for you is we want you to have an amazing life with amazing experiences. And for that, we need to learn how to master your ego, the part that's always comparing and always threatened. In order to do that, we need to learn how to take risks where you're going to fail. And so asking yourself, your daughter, am I willing to fail and look foolish and not measure up to anyone's expectations? If she can get to that point, then she's got power. The problem with expectations and mental blocks is this like, I got to be a certain way. I've got to succeed, and I can't look foolish. I can't be embarrassed. That's dangerous. That leads to mental blocks.
Obviously, I don't know what it's like inside the minds of other people, but I know for me, inner dialogue is a big thing. You know, what I'm telling myself throughout the day. So if I had to play the soundtrack of my brain for the listeners to hear, it would probably sound like the Braveheart soundtrack. It's like every moment of the day, I'm very go, go, go. In the morning, if I had to play the soundtrack, it might sound more like Bob Ross painting happy trees, and I'm organizing my day. And there's somebody watching today's show, and your inner dialogue, you're raging against yourself. Your subconscious mind is just telling you can't do it, or oh, my job is monotonous, or all this task isn't getting me anywhere. What do you say? What tips do you have to help somebody out there retrain the subconscious mind if their subconscious mind is just saying stuff that's negative?
Well, we have tools like some sort of various deep breathing tools that we use when you're feeling anxious and when you have or you're not present during performance. But it all starts with your mindset. What am I doing this for? Why am I going to go perform or play golf or do my job today? If it's just to be externally successful with whatever it is you're trying to do, now we've got stress and pressure because it may not work out. However, if you have the inner excellence mindset, which is I compete to raise the level of excellence in my life, to learn and grow in order to raise it in others, well, now you can do that. And now you've got mental toughness.
You've had a lot of athletes that have gravitated towards your books. I believe that you have members of the PGA now singing your praises, members of the NFL now singing your praises. Why do you think athletes like your book?
Oh, it's such a countercultural message that is true, powerful, and not what people talk about. Our culture is obsessed with these symbols of success, and you got to win, you got to be the best. And inner excellence is just doing the research over the last several thousand years of how do you optimize human performance, and it starts with the heart, and that's not a message that our culture talks about.
I'm going to pull up this video real quick because it's you sort of have to see it to grasp it here. Let me pull it up real quick.
So AJ Brown, well, we're figuring that out. He is going to read a little passage here.
Back that up here.
Well, we're figuring that out. He is going to read a little passage here.
Why was AJ Brown, why is he reading your book during the game? What could he possibly be reading? Does he like the forward? Was he reading the acknowledgments? Was he going through and see, where was this book published? I wonder where the copyright. I mean, what would cause him to stop in the middle of a game? I mean, I don't know if people know that. I mean, it's very abnormal for an athlete in the middle of a game to read a book.
Yeah, he should have been reading the playbook, or he should have been reading the defenses or something, shouldn't he? Like that's what he should do because I'm an expert sitting here on my couch. That's what he should do. Or if you're actually an athlete, someone that wants to be the very best that they can be, wouldn't you want to do anything that can get you focused and centered, have a clear mind and unburdened heart so your subconscious can unleash all your potential? Like what good, like he's been playing football for a long time. He knows how to run his routes. The best PGA Tour players, the best NBA players, they know how to play golf and basketball. What they need is freedom and inner peace and a clear mind and unburdened heart. He read that book to get him that between plays.
Okay, so let's just say hypothetically, someone's watching this show today, totally hypothetically, and they're an NBA coach. Total hypothetical. And they're an NBA coach watching today's show, and they're going, man, I'm trying to get myself and my team geared up for the playoffs. What would you say if you were asked to advise an NBA coach?
Well, if you want to be the best coach that you can be, you want to model it yourself because the team is going to reflect their energy, their spirit is going to reflect you. And so you need to have that inner peace, that focus, that presence that they can that vibe that's going to empower them. And so the problem that happens is our culture is so obsessed with the end result. With my clients, we never talk about end results. It's only the beginning of the year we'll talk about their goals, but it's always how do we get better today? And that's what the best coaches in the NBA do, and every best coach. They focus on the process of getting better and not the result, because the results is a terrible measure anyway. You can play great and not win, play terrible and win. And so we need to focus on the details of how do you get better every day.
Going back to the athlete thing, this is so big. I just happen to know a lot of athletes, and that's kind of my background. I want to get your thoughts on this. What other athletes have gravitated towards your book that you could share about? What other athletes or organizations have reached out to you or have connected with you about your book?
Well, it's so many different areas because this isn't about performance. This is about living the best possible life. Like it's not about sports. So yeah, athletes from all different sports and coaches have reached out, and it's a real gift to be a part of anyone's life. But the important thing is for the average listener who's sitting in their living room or listening to this, driving their car, is that you can live an amazing life with amazing experiences and deep, enriching relationships where you're learning and growing. You can. This is not about pro athletes. This is for you. And it's about facing your fears and learning how you want to live and feel and who you want to become and developing that inner peace and inner strength that comes from love.
Let's switch totally away from pro sports. We're going into dentistry. Okay. I work with a lot of dentists. Okay. So a dentist is in the dental locker room and they are going, okay, how do I apply the principles that this guy teaches in my life, in my dentistry, in my practice? I've got a team of 20 employees. How could a dentist apply this information?
The challenge that dentists have is so much. They got these patients that are coming with so much anxiety, and rubs off on them. And so the big thing for a dentist would be, what is it that I really want? Are those people that come into my office, are they just wait for me to make money? Or does the dentist realize, okay, what I really want in my life is I want to learn and grow and feel joy and share that with my kids, my family. Well, there's no way I can really do that to a high level if people that walk into my door are just a number to make money. I need to connect with them and want the best for them. And if I do, and if every single person that wants, doesn't mean I have to spend a lot of time with them, but if I want the best for them and try and love them the best that I can, that's where joy follows.
Your book is titled, I want to make sure people know this book title. The book title is Inner Excellence, Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance and the Best Possible Life, which would imply that by default, potentially, people are not living their best possible life. Where do you see people just missing the mark by default as it relates to living the best possible life?
Oh yeah, just way too short of a vision. Just looking at, I just want to make more money. I just want to get a trophy and be more materialist successful. It's what I spent most of my life doing. They don't have the ability to see what's possible because, I had this pro athlete, top 10 in the world, said I'm too attached to my goals, to my results, and it creates this anxiety. What do I do? And I said, well, how do you, if let me tell you a story. Say you met a kid who loves lollipops and he had a lollipop. How would you get that from him easily, quickly? What if you had a bigger lollipop? He would trade, right? And what kid wouldn't? You need a bigger lollipop than birdies and wins, because if your biggest goal is some sort of external success, you're going to live a life of anxiety. We need something that you can control.
You know, a lot of times guys like you hop on podcasts like mine, and I know sometimes you get off the show and you go, that was weird, or that was okay, or well, I know when I'm interviewed, a lot of times I think, I wish they would have asked me this, or I often think, I wish I would have asked the guest this. Is there a certain thing that you wish you were asked when you're on podcast? Is there a certain question you say, man, I wish they would have asked me about this, or this is really on your heart to share with our audience?
America's obsessed with looking good and comparing well. Social media, it's the great obsession, the great mistake, because we all want such. We're hardwired for love, and so anytime I can talk about the truth about where the power comes from, and that power comes from surrender. It's not culturally exciting to talk about. The more popular one is to get the guy that's like, oh, you just got to win, you got to keep fighting. But inner excellence is the most powerful way to be present is to love your opponent. And then the America may go, man, what the heck? This guy's crazy. But I got that from Phil Jackson. Most of what I got, a lot of it was from basketball coaches, actually. Phil Jackson, Dean Smith, John Wooden. Three of the best, and three ones that impacted me the most.
You are talking my love language. Now that you're talking Phil Jackson. I love Phil Jackson. For anybody out there who doesn't know Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan won 6 championships, but none of them without Phil Jackson as his coach. Kobe Bryant won 5 championships, but none of them without Phil Jackson as his coach. Kobe Bryant actually petitioned for Phil Jackson to be removed from the team, essentially to retire, because he was, he wanted to try to win without Phil. But then he kind of begged for Phil Jackson to come back, and Phil documents this in his book. But Phil Jackson was a guy who was coaching life first and then basketball second, and it really. It befuddled reporters. They would ask him a question about the game, and he would respond with almost like a Zen philosophical life coaching moment. And he almost refused to talk about X's and O's and rebounds and points. And what have you met Phil Jackson? Have you ever connected with Phil?
Not yet. Looking forward to it though.
Oh yes, that has to happen. Okay, so when you think about Phil Jackson and his coaching legacy, what did you like about Phil Jackson's approach to basketball?
Well, I mean, the book Sacred Hoops had a big impact on me. I always think about the opponent is not the enemy; they're our partner in the dance. And he talks about how when he was an athlete, he was so obsessed with results, and then when he got into coaching, he had such a much broader vision, and that really I learned alongside what he taught us in Sacred Hoops. So yeah, Phil's had such a huge impact. I'm excited to meet him.
When you think about the coaches that you've met over the last couple of years as you've been gone this unbelievable journey, is there a particular coach that you've met in person that has really made an impact on you that maybe you've met along your journey here recently?
Oh man, good question. I've talked to so many great coaches. There's been so many, and some of the amazing things that I learned. One of the things that I learned from the coaches is the superstar athlete, the superstar coaches are just like you and I. This is one of the biggest learnings that I had when I started interviewing and meeting with and working with these superstars. I was like, okay, they're going to be so confident. Their confidence is going to match their stardom. And it was not the case, because they're human, and they're so in need of love, just like you and I. And sports, the way sports works is you're only as great as your last game. And so there's always this unknown. You could be the villain, next week. And so there's this real instability amongst coaches that tie their value to their performance.
Final question I have here for you. For people out there that want to pick up a copy of your book, do you have a specific place you would prefer our listeners to go to? Is there a certain website where you'd like them to go to, or a certain place? I know people can buy your book on Amazon, but is there a specific place you'd like people to go to?
Yeah, 5 o'clock in Philly tonight at Barnes & Noble. I'll be there signing books. Chestnut Street, downtown Philadelphia. Other than that, any bookstore that sells English language books should have it.
I'm going to pull it up real quick. I'm going to do a quick Google search so we can look at it, make sure we're getting the right book here. So we're going to go to Amazon here, folks. I'm going to look it up here, and I'm going to type in Inner Excellence. I don't want you getting a copy of a book called Outer Excellence written by a guy named Jim Durfee. No, we want to get the right one. This is Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. For anybody who accidentally bought Outer Excellence by Jim Durfee, that's a knockoff. That's not the real thing. Inner Excellence, you got the audio book, you got the paperback copy, you got it all right here. I encourage everybody to check it out. And Jim, I really do appreciate you carving out time for us today. I'm going to give you the final word, 60 seconds on the clock. What say you, sir?
There's going to be listeners, viewers that are watching this that are feeling despair. And I just want you to know that what the world needs is hope. And what the world needs is you. The world needs you to be your true self, to let go of what people think of you, and to focus on walking in love. And that sacrificial love is the most powerful thing that you can connect with. When you do, you're going to be fearless.
Jim, you are the best. Thank you for living up to the hype there, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
No matter how slow you go, you're still lapping everyone.
White Mamba, Scalabrini. White Mamba, Scalabrini. White Mamba, Scalabrini. White Mamba, Scalabrini. White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Gotta bring him back so he can lead DCs. White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Nicknamed by Stacey King. Bring him back to succeed. Yeah. Put him in, coach. Everybody now knows Scalabrini had the moves that nobody could handle. They can shut him down, dude was like Rambo. One man army, big red could dismantle. White Mamba could steal like a vandal, block like a Lego, shoot like in Fuego. Got it all done without the Royce, not Canseco. Brian Scalabrini dominates basketball. Gotta bring it back to win the championship, y'all. White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Gotta bring him back so he can lead DCs. White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Nicknamed by Stacey King. Bring him back to succeed.
He's coming. White Mamba in the house to put the Celtics on the map. White Mamba shooting threes, and your boy is
6'9".
Taking over the stadium. Radioactive uranium from Thunderbirds Highline. You know
he's on his grind.
Turning Showtime into Brine time. It's all by design. Got the title in a way. Couldn't have done it without him. It's that White Mamba mentality, so don't you ever doubt him. Putting points up on the board for Scalabrini in the challenge. You had that kind of work ethic, your fingers would be calloused. Dunk it from half court. It's White Mamba on the prowl. Scalabrini's in the building. We tell the whole town. 6'9" high, and he's never coming down. He doesn't give up. Scal never throws in the towel. He's taking over New England and hailing from
Southern Cal.
White Mamba's in the house, boosting the morale. Whole team shooting threes. Boston victory.
Big city.
White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Gotta bring him back so he could lead DCs. White Mamba, Brian Scalabrini. Nicknamed by Stacey King. Bring him back to succeed.
Gotta bring back Big Scal. The moment he retired, it was like a big funeral. The NBA just ain't the same without Big Scallop in the game. White Mamba.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th. Yep. It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, you know, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad, and like it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, you know, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session, we do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250 or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And you did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Shaw Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Ending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I'll tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun. melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I've found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships. But one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things, the processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but It has a lot to do with hard work and, perseverance and, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute, because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. My rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.